My name is Sobanang. I am the co-founder and publisher of the Khmer Post USA bi-weekly newspaper in Lowell for more than 10 years. Many of you here know me, but those who you don't know me, I see many new faces responded to this event through our Facebook posting. So really nice surprise, and thank you very much for being here. I would just start by thank you, Senator Ed Kennedy, for being here tonight and coming out to speak with our community about the bill that he filed to condemn the political oppression and encouraging free and fair election in Cambodia. We also, tonight in the room, we have the member of the opposition party, activist based here in Lowell, speak about what is it that the political oppression in Cambodia. To start the program, now I'd like to introduce you Dominik LAY, my right-hand man, helped organize this event, put it together, make it successful. And I'd like to thank the staff from the office, Senator Kennedy, also here tonight, help support making this event happen. So without further ado, I'll bring Dominik up. Dominik?
Thank you. So, thank you everyone for attending. Well, thank you, Soben, Khmer Post USA, for doing a great job for setting this up together, bring us here tonight. And you have carried the momentum since the last time we talked about this resolution. And it is important that we continue this, keep on the momentum going. Thank you. A little background on S-2406, how we got to this bill, to this resolution. In May 2018, the United States House of Representatives passed what's called H-5754. It was known as the Cambodia Democracy Act of 2018. That was May 2018. 3 months later, in August of 2018, Lowell City Councilor Vesna Nuon filed a motion to support this Cambodia Democracy Act. And all nine Lowell City councilors voted unanimously to support this motion. And that was the source of resolution S-2406. S-2406 is a resolution condemning political oppression and encouraging free and fair elections in Cambodia. This resolution is very important to every Cambodian and Cambodian American in Massachusetts. The crisis in the Ukraine reminds us that this resolution is even more essential to those that have been oppressed, and everyone should support it. Senator Ed Kennedy filed this resolution the first time in 2019, and again he filed it in 2021. Twice the Senator Kennedy filed this resolution. It was referred to Joint Committee on Veterans and Federal Affairs. So earlier this year, on January 7th, the Joint Committee on Veterans and Federal Affairs, co-chaired by Senator John Willis and Representative McMurtry, hosted a public hearing. Many of you guys have signed up to testify on this resolution. Thank you for speaking up. Your testimonies had great impact, and it has been reported favorably out of the committee. It is now being referred to Committee on Rules. Today, we would like to thank Representative Werner Howard for co-sponsoring Thank you, Senator James Eldridge and Senator Brandon Crighton for co-sponsoring. Thank you, Representative Dan Cahill and Rep. Peter Capano, who is also a Vice Chair of the Joint Committee on Veterans and Federal Affairs for co-sponsoring. So we would like to thank Senator Kennedy for sponsoring S2406, and we thank you for spending time to speak to us tonight. Please, everyone, welcome Senator Ed Kennedy. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I want to thank all of you who took the time to come here this evening. It's cold and it's getting very windy out there, so thank you very much for being here. And for those who took the time to testify in support of this legislation a couple of weeks ago, thank you for doing that too. I think that was very important. And as Dominik mentioned, the legislation, which is a resolution calling for fair elections in Cambodia, was reported out of the committee with a favorable ought to pass recommendation. I'm not really worried about, and I should report today that today was my first day back at the State House in 2 years. So for 2 years, I've been doing Zoom meetings, and everything has been Zoom, as I'm sure it's been for most of you. But today, we had formal session in the Senate, so I was able to get back to the State House. And it felt good until I was driving home, and then I was in the traffic, and then I had much more appreciation for those Zoom meetings than I did on the way in the morning. Anyways, I did have an opportunity to speak to the Senate President about the legislation today. I'm pretty confident that it will pass in the Senate. And so the reason that I'm here this evening is to ask you to do some lobbying on the House side. So for House members, whether it's your state representative or other state representatives, if you could call them, that would be very helpful. And that's what I would ask you to do. And I think to get the names and the phone numbers from those state representatives, you would probably get that from, I think my office could provide that, but if not, you could get it also from Representative Howard. So that's it. Basically, the legislation is a resolution that I filed. Dominik's correct. I did file it twice. The first time we filed it was late in the session, and so it wasn't able to get through the legislative process. But we did file it at the beginning of this session, and so I'm pretty confident that this legislation will pass. And I think it's important for people to weigh in on fair and free elections in Cambodia, particularly in the city of Lowell, which has the highest Cambodian population in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and the city of Lynn, which has the second highest Cambodian population in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. So that's kind of it, really. Dominik took a lot of my thunder with what he had to say. But if people can call their state representatives or other state representatives, that certainly would be a good thing to do.
Thank you, Senator. My question is about common state representatives. Do you know where the Lowell state representative delegation stands on this?
I only know where Representative Howard stands on it. Representative Howard is a co-sponsor. There were several co-sponsors to it. I'm the main sponsor, but there's several co-sponsors. Representative Howard is one of those. Senator Crighton is one of those. I think Senator Eldridge is another one. And there are 2 or 3 other members of the House, I think from the Lynn delegation, that also signed on as co-sponsors. But I don't know where the other 2 state representatives stand. However, if you call them, you'll quickly find out. And if enough people call them, they may change their position if they're not going to, if they're not in support.
Was there a companion piece filed in the House, or that the other representatives might have been a part of, or are they just weren't, they didn't sign on to this particular bill?
As far as I know, this is the only bill. There is no corresponding bill in the House.
Did they ask to sign on to the bill?
I'm sorry?
I'm just wondering if they ever asked to sign on to the bill.
There's over 8,000 bills that are filed.
Yeah.
So that some people may have been asked, but I'm not going to be able to tell you that everybody was asked to do that.
Can they still sign on, or they can just support it?
You can still sign on.
Okay, so they could urge people to sign on to the bill, not just support it.
Absolutely. Yep.
So for those of you here heard of S2406 for the first time, the reason why this bill was filed, as you learned, came out of the council in the Dominik, what year was that? 2018. So 2018, something happened very big in Cambodia, and I will invite Councilor Vesna Nuon come up and explain you a little bit about that.
ថ្មីបង្គំព្រះអង្គដែលបានមុនមកនៅកម្មវិធីនៅពេលយប់នេះថ្មីបង្គំព្រះអង្គដែលបានមុននៅចូលមកនៅកម្មវិធីរបស់យើងថ្ងៃនេះជាពិសេស I want to thank everyone and recognize again my colleague Kim Scott and John Drinkwaters are here, and also all of you who are here tonight. I also want to especially express my deep thanks to Senator Kennedy for filing this bill, and his team and all of the people who are active in doing this. This is not about CNRP or the ruling party. This is about things, this is about democracy. This is about things that we in the community, whether you're in Lowell or anywhere in the U.S., want to see happen. The politics in Cambodia is ongoing. The international community spent millions, if not billions of dollars to try to bring peace to a decade of war in Cambodia. Some may have to do with the Vietnam War, American war with Vietnam. And we are a victim of that, bombarding and killing, and then Khmer Rouge came on. In 1991, that's where Paris Peace Accord, where all this international community, big player, big powers in the world, team up and to make sure that Cambodia has a free and fair election and so on and so forth. Yet, time and again, the ruling party, which the leader is a member of the Khmer Rouge themselves, you see, controlled the country for over somewhat year, 30-something plus year. I'm involved in it because I'm a victim, like most of my Cambodian fellow here, of the Khmer Rouge. I came here because freedom, opportunity, democracies, and all alike. What brought me to say something was in 2012. That's when I went to Cambodia with then Congresswoman Nikki Sonkas, with Vanna Howard and others. So, you know, we tried to urge the government for all this, what everyone here wanted. Freedom, you know, human rights, you know, democracies and all alike. Well, Soban is right. In 2018, when the government know that the opposition party gained the momentum and eventually it's going to beat them. And they dissolved that party. They, you know, kind of exile a number of leaders. The Congress then, I was involved in helping at the time with our Congresswoman to file legislation and stuff in the federal level. And I was also a part of introducing a bill, a motion to support that. Because I live in a free world here. Country, democracies. I see what's wrong back home. Yes, I was elected to representing everyone in the city of Lowell. But American value is not just in Lowell, wherever. American value is broader wherever you are, and that's how I feel. You know, recently, our President Joe Biden, said, America, this is about Ukraine and Russia, what Russia did to Ukraine. Said America stand to bully. We stand for freedom. That's who we are. And that's who we all should be are. In Cambodia, I would say, America, ក្រោកឈរតតាំងនឹងជនពីលជនក្បត់ការជនប្រៃការយើងក្រោកឈរតតាំងដើម្បីសិទ្ធិសេរីភាពរបស់ផងយើងសិទ្ធិនៅក្នុងការបោះឆ្នោតសេរីយុត្តិធម៌ត្រឹមត្រូវសិទ្ធិនៅក្នុងការបញ្ចេញយោបល់របស់យើងសិទ្ធិនៅក្នុងការសិទ្ធិមនុស្សលក្ខនឹងលក្ខអញ្ចឹងហើយបានយើងទាំងអស់គ្នាដែលជាខ្មែរអាមេរិកាំងមិនថាឡើយបងប្អូនរស់នៅទីណាទេនោះហើយដែលអ្វីដែលយើងចង់បានយើងបានសុខក៏ប៉ុន្តែបងប្អូនយើងនៅឯមិត្តណាអ្នករួមសាសរបស់យើងនៅឯប្រទេសទៀមទាអត់ច្រើនទេទៀមទាថាចង់បានការបោះឆ្នោតយុត្តិធម៌ត្រឹមត្រូវទៀមទាដែលថាចង់បានសិទ្ធិមនុស្សនៅក្នុងប្រទេសកម្ពុជានោះហើយបើយើងគាត់ជាតំណាងរបស់ផងយើងនេះគាត់ជាព្រឹទ្ធសភារដ្ឋនេះណាគាត់ជាព្រឹទ្ធសភារដ្ឋនេះគាត់ឃើញគាត់ឈឺគាត់ឃើញយើងឈឺគាត់ឈឺដែរអញ្ចឹងគាត់ដាក់ពាក្យ You have a state senator who's representing us in Lowell and not just in Lowell. He feel our pain because he know and he want justice, he want free and fair election. Does not matter. Is he elected to represent just his district? Yes, he is. But when his constituents sick or pain and want help, he stand up, he support his constituents. That's what our representative should be. That's what you elect your representative to do. The same thing as our councilor. Now we have district and at large, and that's what we wanted. We want our representative in district and at large all together, working together to help our city better. But also to feel the pain of some of the people here. 2/3 of the Asian population living here in the city of Lowell. And 85% of them are still, there's a pain there. And that's why we need all the help we can get to get this bill passed. And we can do it if we work together. And I want to congratulate the senator for doing it. And I know that the other representative in our city will join in eventually, sooner. And that's why this bill come about. And that's why the senator and the team is doing this work. And I want to thank all of you for being here, really. But pick up your phone, call your representative. Whether you're representative in Lowell or you're not representative, any representative in any other city and said, this is important to me. This should be also important to you. Send a message that this is what we want. Free and fair election no matter where we are. I thank you.
Councilor Hong Net, would you like to come up and say a few words? We'd love to have Lynn weigh in on this. Although I've told Senator Crighton that sometimes I think you should be running for city council in Lowell because you spend more time in Lowell than you do in Lynn, I think.
You're right, I spend more time in Lowell than Lynn. Good evening. I want to thank
Soben and Dominik for inviting me here. I'm so happy to be here. Vesna, Councilor Vesna, I'm so pleased to see you again this evening. And Senator Kennedy, I just want to applaud your effort put this resolution together. I'm also proud to say that all my representative and senator in Eastern Mass, Lynn, Swampscott, Marblehead, that area, and so they all signed into this, support this resolution, and they're very happy to do this. I haven't twisted their arms a lot, and but they understand. They understand what this for, and they care about our community. They care about our country. They care, and they know what's going on. And some of in Brendan Crighton, Senator Brendan Crighton went to Cambodia, and he saw what's happened, and he came back. He told me he loved people of Cambodia, but he said to see that how the government runs the country, even though they didn't know who he was, but he was kind of knew what's going on. And yes, and I have to echo Mang Vesna that we all must do what we can. We have to reach out to all the representatives throughout the Commonwealth. And it doesn't matter where you live. I will get the list. I will call all of them if I can. And I twist arms with my representative and senator. I will do the same thing. And I urge all of us to do the same thing. Once again, I want to thank Senator Kennedy for doing this. And I'm so happy to be here. And again, thank you for what you do. And so happy to see you all tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Hong Net, for taking your time, driving all the way from Lynn just to join us. And I really appreciate it. And I want to thank all the state delegation from Lynn, Senator Crighton and Rep. Capano and Rep. Cahill for supporting this bill. And I am deeply disappointed that not all of our state delegation in Lowell support this bill. And we also have an activist here in Lowell, Susie. She might want to say a few things. Susie Chun, would you like to say a few words?
I believe in free and fair election, and America is the founding father of democracy. We are the founding father of human rights. So that's what we need to continue embracing, and that's what we need to continue embracing, not just in our city, nationwide, and worldwide. But this bill helps us very deeply, especially if all of us believe in free and fair election. I urge you and I ask you for your support to make sure you help this as well.
There are 168 state representatives. There's 40 senators. That's 200 people. There's over 8,000 bills that get filed. During the course of the year, I get calls from people asking me to co-sponsor lots of bills that I haven't co-sponsored them. It isn't that I don't like the bill. It just hasn't been brought to my attention, or sometimes it's been brought to my attention, but nobody's asked me to co-sponsor it, so I haven't done that. So when you're calling these state representatives, you should be doing that with the idea that if you ask them, they're probably going to want to co-sponsor. A lot of them will. I can't think of anybody in the Massachusetts legislature that is against fair and free elections, right? In Cambodia or anywhere in the world. And so I would expect that everybody would want to sign on. So your task should be easy. It's really just, calling the people up, explaining the bill, asking them to sign, and hopefully you'll be able to get a lot of co-sponsors for this legislation, and we can push it over the finish line this year. Once again, thank you all for coming. This was a good meeting. We'll have a sign-in sheet over at that table where people can sign in, and let's get to work. Thank you.